Okay, what we do is rope access. We call ourselves rope access specialists. That's the name of the company. And what we have done really for the last 15 years is to work with film crews, getting them into difficult places at heights and doing height safety. So let's say somebody wants to get onto a cliff to film a bird, then they might ask us to do that. And that's exactly what led us to where we are standing here today.
I got the initial call and my thoughts were it was just a cliff that needed looking at, and I did actually try to dissuade, actually it was Steve at the time, because I didn't think it was our kind of work really. I thought it was a cliff stabilization job he was talking about. And then I handed him over to Tim and he said the word fossil in the cliff, and that changed everything.
Yeah, I just went, ooh, that sounds good.
That sounds really exciting. Maybe we are interested.
Yeah, so that was it. Yeah. Well, I think that there's no doubt that it was a complex business. I mean, getting Steve and Chris down the cliff and to do the digging, and Al to get down to do the digging, that was exactly what we do. We look after people on ropes, and that's fine. But then we get a layer of camera people and people on the top and people down on the beach. And basically there are a number of risks involved in that, and we were just trying to control that. So it was, I think, a complex job.
It was complex because the cliff wasn't a lovely stable piece of rock. It was really very crumbly, and that was the first worry, that it was a crumbly cliff.
Yeah, I suppose often in our job, you see, we would choose a place to go to film, but when you have just a specific spot to go to, we just had to deal with everything that was there, which is why
it wouldn't have been an ideal place to set up an abseil or to work on at all. So we had to initially even think about making the cliff safe and put netting over it to stabilise it and to make it safe for folks. So there was a lot more to it before you actually got into position to start looking for the...
and then you've got the sea at the bottom.
And the tide.
And the tide, and you've got, at the top, you've got a cliff that had great big cracks in it because it had been a dry summer.
And then when it rained, it became even worse because it would just make the whole surface come away. And it was all quite
It was quite tense. Well, we've been extraordinarily lucky to do some extraordinary things, and the variation of things that we've done is great, but there's no doubt that standing here now in front of this it's fabulous. It's fantastic to have been involved in it. I mean, it's just such an extraordinary thing, and to think of what it looked like and the work that went into getting it out and lifting it up the cliff. I think it's stunning. I don't think, well, there's no way that we'll forget it. It was great, very, very...
I mean, it had everything, didn't it? I mean, the science, the...
yeah, that's a great thing.
It wasn't just a filming project, it had so much more to it.
Yeah, and the fact that you get an end, like this. And the rest of it's still in the cliff. The other bit of it's still in there.
We'll deal with that.
I don't think we've had a job similar to this before. No, I think this was unique.
We've had jobs where you've had to get presenters down cliffs to look at fossils.
Oh yeah, that's true. Cliffs. I did. Yeah, there was a BBC thing a while back called Fossil Detectives, and we were involved in that. But they were all known fossils that we were going down to. We haven't had any specific things, but we are doing a little bit of work with Chris still, because he knows of a couple more fossils on cliffs, and we've been to look at one so far, haven't found it yet. Well, I think I was saying that there was a lot of sort of tension and things involved in the risks of it. But the final day when it was lifted up, I think that my heart rate was up for a good 2 or 3 hours, because getting the sledge, as we were calling it, down to lift this out, at one stage, a huge steel bar with the whole weight of the thing was resting just on the top here. It looked as if it was going to knock the tip off the fossil. But so the tension was phenomenal.
But it was fantastic with his teamwork, actually.
Oh, it was great teamwork.
From Rob devising the device in the first place.
Yeah.
And then all the cunning ways of getting it lowered down and pulled up. I mean, it was a stunning piece of teamwork that day.
Yeah, it was.
And very pleasing at the end.
Yeah. No, sorry. I never imagined that it would come out so beautifully as this, because it all just appeared really to be a mush of rocks and bits. I could see what the fossil was before we covered it in plaster, but I couldn't imagine that it would have come out and been...
I expected it to be so friable, and I thought it would have collapsed really in transit. And you found so many tiny little pieces of bone. I mean, the kind of jigsaw that has you know, that's had to be done to put this all together is phenomenal, because there were so many tiny little pieces.
Yeah, it is incredible. I can't imagine the amount of work
That's gone into this now.
has gone into this in the last year.
Plus, it's stunning.
If I was asked to do it again, if the body would allow, yes, no doubt.
Definitely. You couldn't. How could you not? I mean,
How could you
stunning.
not? Absolutely. No, fantastic. Brilliant to be part. I think Pam hit on it really. It's the fact that it's just such an interesting thing to mix the science with what we're doing, and you know,
Filming
and the filming,
the
and all
teamwork and the expertise.
Yeah, and great people.
Yeah, just so many people came together to do superb work, really.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, and it was really hard work, but it was real dedication. And Steve, of course.
Yeah.
Steve's
Yeah, wonderful.
unshakable desire and vision driving it, really. Yeah. He was determined he was going to get it, and he got it. And he pulled everybody with him.
That's all we've got for you today from the Etches collection. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and hopefully we'll see you next time.